Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening to the Quality Hub, Chatting with ISO Experts. I'm your host, Xavier Francis, and today I'm here with Scott Dawson, President of Core Business Solutions, and Staci Miller, Director of Operations, West Virginia University Industrial Extension. Glad you both could be with us today.
Thanks, X. Great to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Now, today's podcast is part of our Survive and Thrive series, the podcast dedicated to delivering practical strategies for small businesses. Our mission is to help you navigate these unprecedented times of change and uncertainty. Our episodes are packed with real-world advice from trusted industry experts, tailored specifically for small business leaders like you. Thanks for joining us as we explore insights that can empower you and your business to not only survive, but truly thrive. And today's topic is leading through uncertainty, resilience in the face of organizational risk. But before we dive into this topic, let's learn a little bit about our guests and their journey. Let's start with Staci. Could you share a little bit about yourself, Staci?
Sure. I've spent about 22 years working in private industry for large manufacturing companies as a global director of environmental health and safety. And I've spent about 10 years working in this capacity with West Virginia University, supporting small manufacturers throughout the state. We are a federally and state-funded working private-public partnership.
Okay.
And we provide operationally based consulting services to small and medium-sized manufacturers throughout the state of West Virginia.
Oh, great. Scott, how about you?
Well, X, I'm president, co-founder of Core Business Solutions. We've been in business 25 years and recently joined LRQA, a global assurance company. Glad to be part of that team. But our focus as Core Business Solutions is really on small businesses and helping them be successful. And I was concerned with all of the changes in trade and government procurement and other kinds of things. Of course, we're here in the U.S. watching the news every night, trying to get a handle on what's going on, and felt like it was important to just provide some guidance or some perspective, or at least the sense of I'm not in it alone if our listeners are feeling uncertain, unsure, a little shaken about what's coming. But I'm glad to be here, glad to have met Staci through this process, and looking forward to our conversation.
That sounds great. So we're talking again about resilience in the face of organizational risk. I'm going to hand it over to you, Scott, to ask some of these questions, and I'll chime in here and there. So why don't we kick it off?
All right. Well, so Staci, when you and I talked getting ready for this podcast, you were saying that your team is undergoing, a lot of questions and uncertainty and being unsettled. And you have clients kind of in that same boat, and that resilience is really what businesses and business leaders need to be focused on. What does that really mean, and how have you been kind of framing resilience to your team?
It's a great question and hard one to answer in some ways. For me, it's about appearing confident and unshaken even when you might be, which is probably more often than not.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because many leaders are problem solvers. They've gotten into a leadership position because they're really good at solving problems, typically. When an uncertainty arises, we want to find solutions. We want to know the outcome. We want to know it now, even if we don't like what the outcome is. But knowing what it is helps us strategize and move on to the next phase. So when leaders have to tread water and wait, it's difficult. And I've learned it's important to stay focused on what we know to be true and sort that out from what's an opinion or something that might be coming from an emotion.
Okay.
Personally, I'm an emotional person. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I try not to, but it's my biology. So I've learned to use some tools to help me narrow down facts and fiction and control my emotions so that I can appear a little more steady. One thing I've used, it's called the Eisenhower Matrix. It's not flashy. It's not fancy. It actually was invented by President Eisenhower when he was a general in the Army. He used it as a way to organize and prioritize critical issues that he faced. And they also say he used it when he was president. So, like I said, it's nothing magical, kind of like a time management tool in a way, using 4 quadrants.
Okay.
You identify things on one axis as either urgent or non-urgent, and on the other axis as important or not important. So as you populate the matrix with your tasks, stressors, whatever they might be. You can see the things a little bit more objectively. I've used this for setting goals for myself throughout my life, and even for working on a single project that might be big and a little bit frustrating. But it's not complicated, and that's why I like it, because it can make a complicated problem a little more tolerable. It helps me sort out what I can do now, or what I need to do now, versus what has to wait to be done later, or should wait until more information is known. So it helps me sort out what I think might be important versus what someone else might really view as important.
Right.
I've encouraged my team to use this tool for lots of reasons through the years. In every job I've had, some are excellent at it, and often it helps to do it with someone else. So it takes you out of the equation. If you're able to include somebody else, it helps. I feel like being resilient doesn't mean reacting. It means remaining confident as the challenge presents itself until you have enough information to start solving problems.
That's a great way to put it. I like that.
Yeah. And as leaders, we want to do things. And so when you can't, you might find things to do. So like putting your energy into this activity is something that you can do. Now you have something tangible.
Right.
And when things do sort out, you can use it as a game plan.
I think that's fantastic. And I've seen this before. I didn't know it was related to President Eisenhower. So that's interesting.
Well, he only was dealing with the Second World War. I mean,
right.
That's all.
Yeah, nothing major.
He only had a few pressing issues.
Yeah.
The whole world caving in all at once. So I guess our situation today isn't quite that dire.
I know, right? We should feel good.
It can feel that way, though.
It can feel that way. Yeah. So, Staci, let's walk through a couple of little what ifs here, because I just sketched out the matrix while you were talking. So if something's important, so it has to get done or has to get addressed, and it's urgent, that quadrant seems obvious would come to the top of the list. Is that right?
Correct. Priority 1.
Okay.
So it needs to happen now, and it happening is absolutely critical.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to another quadrant. Let's say something's important, but it's not urgent. I don't know if that's number 2. I'm just going in a random order here, but.
Yeah, that would be number 2.
Okay.
And I think because if we deem it to be important, it's worth our time, or there's a receiver or a stakeholder on the other end of what the task is that we need to do that is going to be critical for them. What you have to do then is balance those 2 quadrants. So you're going to have the first quadrant that you mentioned, important and urgent.
Right.
Obviously, number 1.
Right.
Then the other 2 you have is important, but not urgent.
Yeah.
And the struggle there is because it's not urgent, it might not be on the top of your mind.
Yeah. And you might not get to it.
And you might not get to it because it's
right?
like, well, I always have these other things in quadrant 1. So those are the things you plan.
Okay.
You put them on your calendar. Like, I don't want to forget about this. So I'm going to put a reminder on there. I'm going to talk to somebody else, do something that can bring it back to my attention so that I don't lose sight of it.
Yeah. All right. So let's then 3 would probably be, let me guess, not important, but urgent.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's a little lesser of a category because oftentimes the sense of urgency is defined by somebody else. So those are things like you're busy doing something in your office. It's highly important. But someone comes in and has a quick question on XYZ.
Yeah.
So they don't want to send an email because they want the answer now and it saves them time. So they come in and disrupt you. It's not easy to just push that person aside, but that's a good example. So if it's an email or some other thing that comes up that is not important, the stakeholder doesn't care about it, the results might not matter to anybody else, but it's urgent, it's typically somebody else identifying that sense of urgency. So you have to be able to sort that out and say, what's the right thing to do here?
So probably, let's say somebody can't move. They are stuck until a decision's made. That would be an urgent that you probably would want to take care of. Speaking if it's somebody else, they come to you and say, this is happening. I can't do anything until I know the answer to that. And you're the one to make the decision. Then you probably should act on it. If it's like, I feel this is urgent, but I don't really have to deal to it the next week. I just want to take it off my checklist of things to do. Then you can kind of set it back.
Yeah, I kind of see a little different X in that someone comes and says they can't move until I get an answer. But there's still the question of, well, is it important that you move?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, is what you're trying to do even important to begin with?
Gotcha. I like that step back.
So it seems like those become the crises of the day, Staci. That's what those sound like to me. And they can dominate your day easily.
They can.
But that also might train the person who's coming to you to be like, okay, this is how I should look at it next time before I come to you.
Yeah, right.
It's always a learning experience because depending on the massive issue that you're dealing with, in this case, we're talking about some really turbulent times. So a leader's attention is probably going to be mostly on that.
Right.
So from an urgent perspective of the issue, in terms of leading in a very troubled time where people and their emotions really matter, you're going to look at that differently than maybe, prioritizing your list of things to do for the year.
Oh, right.
I know I'm kind of talking about it in both perspectives, but it's flexible because it could be done that way. So I think even when it's really stressful, employees generally know that's not a good time to maybe disrupt or seek out answers for things that could easily wait.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you have the total waste of time, I would think. The quadrant 4, but I find myself still doing those sometimes because they're easy or I like to do them or something not urgent, not important, but maybe a lot of fun. I don't know.
Totally. That's exactly what that is. It's the things that we think matter or they're our pet projects or something that we're passionate about. And that's horrible because those are the things that generally, boost us up.
Yeah.
And remind us why, there's good things about work. And so when you have to cut those out, it can be a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're dealing with people that are also high strung right now. Okay. And how do you find the balance of talking with them? You might have to educate them a little bit of this is why that's not important to me now versus just pushing them off, especially at a high tension time like this. You have somebody who's a subordinate, maybe even a coworker that they really are good, but they are paralyzed right now. Where do you find that balance of, does this need to be talked about right now? Or I need to take a moment with this person?
I think it depends on the leader's ability to be vulnerable.
Okay.
Because we manage things. We manage budgets, we manage projects, we manage activities, but we lead people. So managers work on things and leaders work on people. So as you're navigating through it, there's also a learning opportunity in many ways, depending on who that person is. And, that's a whole other topic for another day with how incredibly different people are inherently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that they try to do or choose to do. It's a matter of that's just their DNA. And so when you understand your team and what those unique characteristics are about them, it might need managed sometimes on a more individual basis. So for me, because I'm generally very emotional, people know when I'm mad, frustrated, and so I don't hide it. I used to think of that as a massive flaw.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know it's not a flaw. It's who I am. And I try to use that to be a unifier, so like in the case that we're in currently, I don't know the answer. I'm also concerned because it affects my personal life too. So it's not just a single decision about something that we're all going to move past. There's some significant changes that could happen.
Yeah.
And so I've been totally transparent as much as I can be within reason about what I know, what I don't know, when I might know it, when I might not know it. And so I've had a really good mentor once tell me that as a leader, communication is important, but not necessarily just that you're saying things, but in terms of timing and having a cadence, and it creates a sense of trust. So, in this case, I am learning information every week about something, and I know everybody's busy working and also busy worrying.
Mm-hmm.
So I set a call every other week where we get face to face and I provide information. So we know there's a call on the schedule. They know they can point to that time. And then on the in-between weeks, I send emails of updates.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, they know by the end of that week, they're going to be hearing from me in some way. It doesn't make it go away, but I've been told it helps them know that I've set aside a time and a place for us to talk about it.
That is a very great way to keep people in the loop and give people a time to focus their questions, focus their concerns, know that there's going to be time to discuss, or maybe a question is going to get answered in this week's email. What a great routine you have, Staci. I think that's really important. I would think that other leaders in other situations might have a different kind of routine that would work for them. I don't know that it has to be done one way. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I think the key is that you're regular about it and you meet your commitment to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's more about the trust factor, whether you do it whenever makes sense for you in the situation. But I think it's just about making sure you are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think the question of what is the leader feeling at that time and whether or not it shows or doesn't show is that aspect of vulnerability that you talked about. And each person's going to have their own personality, and they're going to wear their feelings either on their sleeve or under their sleeve or something. But I also think vulnerability and authenticity go hand in hand. So you need to be authentic with people so that the emotional openness that you'd have shows that, we're all feeling these concerns and we're all working through these changes. And, what I know today to be authentic is this. What I don't know today is this. And therefore, we can make this short-term decision, or we have to delay the decision, or I don't really have guidance today, or I'm going to make a firm decision based on what I know, what I don't know, what's urgent, what's not urgent, important, etc. But if it's based on that vulnerability and authenticity foundation, people will trust you and therefore be willing to listen and adapt and accept, even if the answer is we need to wait,
Right.
or the answer is no,
Yeah.
or the answer is not good, or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
To know you care and that you're giving them the straight scoop, I think those are vitally important.
Yeah. Do you have one phrase or mindset shift that you found to especially ground your team?
I think the thing that I've told them that helps me keep grounded is that I've committed that I'm not going anywhere. I'm in it till the end
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
of whatever challenges, specifically this one. I'm not going to back down and not fight for us or the mission. And I got your back no matter what. We all learn behaviors we never want to portray in some of the poor managers we've had in the past.
Right.
Which is, how I learned my lesson. And I was extremely fortunate to have a phenomenal leader as a manager about 15 years ago. And he showed me so many great things, and that it's okay to be personal. Like, it's not just business.
Yeah.
It is personal. So even under great duress, I think if people know that you're there totally authentically and I'm not leaving, I will do that. I hope that makes them feel better. And that's something that I've been very vigilant about in many situations, but specifically this one.
Yeah, I think that's so important, Staci. And it gives people the sense that the decisions you're making or the viewpoint that you have is kind of undergirded by a commitment to success and a commitment to the mission, a commitment to the purpose of yourself and the organization, and that's not wavering.
Right.
That commitment is not wavering.
Right.
Even though, as we started this discussion, we talked about how the leader might feel inside.
Yeah.
Might be a little wavering.
Yeah.
Might be a little shaky because we're human and we all go through these challenges. But I think how you react and lead with your team, showing that stability, that commitment is just, it makes the difference. It can really make the difference.
It really does.
And help other people stick it out too, or stay courageous or confident in the midst of uncertainty.
Yep. If I might step off topic a little bit, I think one thing that not everybody might have access to, but if you do, might be helpful is if you find somebody that is in one of those quadrants that really kind of needs some extra time, maybe HR could help. I know a lot of HRs right now are being utilized as a little bit of support staff, with not knowing what's going on. But that just might be an asset that maybe leaders could look at too as well.
Yeah, HR and other leaders. Sometimes other leaders might have a different connection with a certain individual. So it's keeping your leadership team united and focused, including HR or others, and then deploying the team to help people through these processes or these difficulties. That's important.
Yeah. So to wrap this up, do we want to maybe make sure that we understand that not all decisions can be made right now because we don't know. We don't have all the data to make decisions. So let people know that you're there for the long haul is a good example of maybe something that's grounding for them. Use tools like the Eisenhower Matrix, which I think is really pretty awesome. That's something I'm going to start using. And again, maybe it's not your strong suit, but you got to have a little empathy for those that are under you and those that might be affected with real decisions that need to be made. But then let them understand you don't have all the answers. Is that about what I'm hearing?
You summed it up perfectly for me.
Well done, X.
All right.
Well done. Hey, do you feel more encouraged today, X, after talking to Staci?
I do too.
Absolutely do. We're not all in this together. We're not alone. Yeah.
We're all in it together. And, come tariffs, come government policy changes, come trade disruptions, come all the other things.
Romance is dying.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever's going on in the big world, realize you've got people right in front of you that need your help.
Yeah.
And need your leadership and need the confidence that you can bring, and really only you can bring as a leader. Whether you lead the whole organization or you lead a team or you're just a peer to others who rely upon you and see you as kind of the steady one, as kind of the rock that they can count on. We all influence people. And right now, I think more than ever, we need each other and need to lean on each other, for sure.
Any last thoughts, Staci?
Yeah, I would say don't discount the silent leaders that are in your groups. So some of the best people that are the most empathetic and supportive aren't in leadership positions at all.
Yeah.
And so, but you know who those people are. So lean on them as well, because they can be an incredible influence if you can utilize them in the right way. And there's more than just one person that can help. And I think sorting them out also builds them up too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you both for being here. I really appreciate it today. What a fabulous topic. Some great insights here as well. And that wraps up this episode of the Survive and Thrive series on the Quality Hub podcast, where we unpack real-world insights and share practical strategies to help small businesses like yours. If you found these conversations helpful, share them with your colleagues, your network, or anyone who could use a boost of practical guidance. You can access all past episodes on our website at thecoresolution.com, and be sure to check out the podcast description for contact information on Core Business Solutions and our podcast guests. And remember, thriving in a changing world starts with knowledge and the courage to act on it. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep leading with clarity, resilience, and purpose. Have a great day.